So we live.
Oh, hello. We're live.
Normal housekeeping stuff. Just go ahead and share. Share. Online.
Okay.
CAF.
All right, true line. Ooh.
Good evening, Mr. Awa. We are live on Jabalani Football Network, and today we're going to talk about transfer market. We're going to talk about updates by CAF, and we're going to talk about the FIFA Club World Cup. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, brother. And you?
I see you trying to stay hydrated. You're drinking some water.
Yes. The UK is officially a desert. Temperatures, desert-like temperatures these days. So we got to keep hydrated.
Oh yeah. Well, today we have some football news. We're gonna be brief. It's gonna be we're targeting 30 minutes. We're gonna be talking about some CAF updates. We're gonna talk about the FIFA Club World Cup, and then we're gonna talk about some the transfer market as concerns some top African players.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's it.
exactly. So there was a post I posted early on this week in regards to price increase for CAF competitions. Could you elaborate a little bit on that, and why do you think CAF is going ahead to increase prices? It's almost like a 100% increase, if I'm not right. If I'm right.
Yes, it is a 100% increase. Yes, so CAF has decided. So CAF, the CAF communication department put out a communique this week that has had some very important points on it. And one of them being the increase of the subventions that CAF pays to clubs that participate in African Club Cup competitions, from 50,000 US dollars to 100,000 US dollars each. And we're talking about approximately 130 clubs participating in this tournament. So that's about $13 million dispersed to teams. And that is very significant. And I think also CAF did talk about a 1 billion US dollar funding, which they are looking to. They have already had companies that have put in tenders for this to contribute, to make a financial contribution towards CAF over the period of 8 years. And I think that is going to help football development in Africa a lot. I think Motsepe is doing a good job as far as it comes to club football development in Africa and youth football development as well. So hopefully that money is going to go a long way to help the clubs. I hope some countries like Cameroon and Nigeria, the executives do not do not take the money and do something else with it and focus on investing this money on players and infrastructure.
Yes, because for them that has been the elephant in the room, right? Corruption, and that has actually gone a long way to actually negative effects when it comes to corruption. So they cannot grow.
Yeah, I think Trula, and if you remember last week, in our last two episodes, we spoke a lot about how the money from the FIFA Club World Cup could go a long way to helping other football clubs develop their infrastructure in Africa and develop football as a whole. And one of the things we talked about was establishing, legal frameworks across Africa, which CAF can, do due diligence on clubs' implementation of these legal frameworks. I think it's about time that these teams, that at least they can start from the point of teams that qualify for African tournaments, and providing evidence that they are able to meet their financial obligations towards their players by providing that evidence of payment throughout the year of player salaries, especially for particular countries where there are problems, such problems like in Cameroon, where you can clearly see the president of the Football Federation is having difficulties with club presidents. So you want to make sure that any clubs qualifying from these countries will provide evidence to CAF that they have been paying their players throughout the year, 12 months in a row, no arrears, so that if you're not financially viable, you're not financially viable.
At least we can see that CAF is doing their own end of the job, and this will be left to local governments and governments in order to implement these when it comes to the various countries, to have good institutions, strong institutions that can actually, at least hold these clubs and club presidents to the law, to the book of law, as it's supposed to. However, let's talk about governance and compliance, in CAF itself, because they actually, the release that went on July 7th, were part of that release. I mean, they had a meeting around their governance and compliance department in order to bring some order into the house, because there's been some rumors about, although his name was not mentioned, I'm talking about Mosengo Omba.
Yeah.
His name was not involved, but there has been some talk around that particular individual. I mean, could you just elaborate on that and what's going on here?
Yeah, I think we all know, for those who follow African football, we know that Motsepe was considered a FIFA agent, someone that was made by FIFA to be head of, was put in place by FIFA to be CAF president. Now, when Motsepe became president, was appointed president, or was voted president, sorry, Motsepe appointed Mr. Ongba, as Mosengo Ongba, as the Secretary General. Now, Mosengo Ongba used to work for FIFA. So he joined CAF in 2021 and was a close associate of Gianni Infantino. So I think there were issues, teething issues with Mosengo Ongba within CAF. Now, as you said, there seemed to have been some talk around some fraudulent practices going on within the secretariat, the CAF secretariat. Now, and no names were mentioned, but Mr. Mosengo Ongba went on to X, and put out a notice that people have been talking about him being corrupt. And what happened was, there was kind of a coincidence here, I do not know, because those allegations were made in August. And then in September, he was also subject to investigations in Switzerland for issues around money laundering, because he made some deposits in his bank account in Switzerland that were considered to be above what they were expecting from his contract with CAF. So CAF launched this investigation, which was going to be handled by their compliance committee, which is run by Maitre Happy, Jordan Happy, the Cameroonian, and Petrus Damasep, who is a Namibian judge who sit on the CAF Audit and Governance Committee. So that report came out this year, was published on the 7th of July. And true to say that it kind of reflected the decision that had already been made by the Swiss legal service or system, because they had found Mosengo Ongba not guilty of the of the allegations of money laundering that were made by the Swiss authorities. So this report by the Audit and Compliance Committee kind of matched the decision that was made by the Swiss courts in relation to Musengo Omba.
So at least it's good here because we're seeing some transparency, despite, the accusation. So there's actually some transparency, and that is what African football actually needs, right? From top to bottom, we need to see transparency.
Exactly.
When these things actually do happen. Now, let's talk about the qualifications, right? What CAF actually considers, because me and you were having this conversation earlier, how CAF will take, let's say, Pyramids, who just won the Champions League, the African version of the Champions League. Okay, so automatically they are qualified for next FIFA Club World Cup, which is in 4 years' time. Don't you think there's a problem right there? Because in 4 years' time, we cannot basically predict what the Pirates or how the Pirates will be. Will they be competitive or not? Will they be the best African team in 4 years' time? Why would CAF actually consider them now as one of those teams already qualified for the club, the FIFA Club World Cup?
Now, as part of the communique that was put out by CAF this week, one of the things they spoke about was the performance of African teams at the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup. And also, they spoke about planning to have a more successful tournament in 2029. Now, so you raise a very good point. Now, and for me, I feel that the criteria that was used for selecting the teams to participate in this seminar edition would be problematic for African teams. And you have mentioned Pyramids. Now, the reason I think this will be problematic for African teams, one of the reasons for me is that African teams tend to sell their players a lot, so they have a quick turnaround of players. And I don't think we have a very stable financial structure within our clubs in Africa as of yet, apart from a few teams like Mamelodi Sundowns or Al Ahly. And Pyramids might come into that. But I wonder, if you look at the example of Wydad Casablanca, 2 years ago, Wydad Casablanca was the CAF, the Champions League winners for CAF. But this year, they were struggling already in the Moroccan League. But they were selected for this tournament. Now, we did a tournament preview and we picked Wydad Casablanca as the weakest team from Africa. But this is a team that 2 years ago was the best team in Africa. And this is what we're saying, is that the criteria for selecting clubs from Africa to this FIFA Club World Cup is a bit tricky. I mean, when compared to all the other continents, because our teams fluctuate a lot. There will be quick turnover of players. If we have very good players, now every team that goes to play in the CAF Champions League finals or at least semi-finals will sell some players to Europe or could sell players to Europe, most likely. So it's going to be very difficult at any one time when teams are turning up at this tournament that those teams will be the best teams on the continent in the last 2 seasons, apart from, say, maybe Al Ahly and Mamelodi Sundowns. Now, I do not know if Mamelodi Sundowns will still be Orlando, because South Africa's got good teams, So Orlando Pirates could still be there, Kaizer Chiefs could have come up. You just never know. Or better still, you're not sure what Simba could be doing or Young Africans. They could have overtaken Mamelodi Sundowns in terms of continental competition. So you just don't know. So I think it's tricky for Africa. I would have preferred that this year, for example, that at this tournament, the teams that were going would have at least included one team from Tanzania and also consideration for Pyramids going instead of Wydad Casablanca, because Pyramids stood a better chance than Wydad because they're a better side. And I think that goes for European teams as well and every continent, but it affects Africa more so than the other continents.
So actually, hopefully, this changes. So that means that, okay, coming on to the next season, right, 2025-26, the team that wins the African Champions League is also going to be considered
Will be considered towards that tournament, surely.
towards that tournament. So for the next 4 years, that's how CAF is going to do. The teams that actually wins will be the team that actually goes. So that's
And
what
I
they
think,
actually do. And
and
they
I think
actually added, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and I think they will also consider your league performances in those, in terms of the coefficient of the leagues, the best leagues in Africa. Now, we do not really know if they're going to maintain the same criteria and the same duration for the next tournament. I think we need to wait and see. This is going to be a fluid thing going forward. I think some of these criteria might be relooked at in terms of, especially Africa. I would really want CAF to relook this and have a conversation with FIFA about how African teams are selected towards the FIFA Club World Cup.
Interesting. Well, today there's going to be the final game of the FIFA Club World Cup. Paris Saint-Germain playing Chelsea. I remember about a month ago, we talked about this tournament and how there was some criticism towards the tournament. However, we are at the end of the tournament. How successful do you think this tournament has been?
Oh, I think again with any tournament or any competition, the first edition is not always easy. Yes, we understand that this is just an enlarged FIFA Club World Cup tournament, but that said, I still do think that there have been some tricky issues to deal with for FIFA, especially with attendance and the constant changing of the prices for tickets for games. But when you look at the attendance for the first round of the tournament, the group stages only, I think there were 522,000 or something fans that visited the stadium. So that made it an average of 34,000 spectators in any game at any one time. That is a good number. That is a good number. And I think after that, throughout the knockout stages, we saw that, the attendance is kept increasing. And I think the highest was about 80,000 plus, and I think today is going to be massive again, so I think from that perspective, it's been very good. The football has been good as well. It's been high level football. I think if you would want to be a very negative critic to say that the quality of the football has not been good. It's been a very good tournament. I've enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to the finals.
Yes, I do agree with you, especially as far as attendance is concerned. And we also have to keep in mind that not only there was the MLS, which is a local league going on.
Yes.
So the FIFA Club World Cup is competing against the MLS games. Not only there was also the Gold Cup that Mexico just won. So there were 3 football tournaments or soccer tournaments, as we say here in America, going on at the same time. And you just called the numbers. A total of 1,094,000 tickets were actually also sold by June 22nd.
Wow.
And as far as the money that was made, about over 2 billion in revenue. So that was about 31 million per game played. So for me, it was successful despite all the noise and negativity. And we should also look at it from this point of view. For me, it's not increase in games played, right? Because guess what? Teams that did not go to this tournament are already playing friendly games.
Yes, exactly.
You see? The teams that did not go, they are already playing friendly games. So the teams that actually went to this tournament don't need to play the amount of friendly games that they could have played, because this was already like their preseason tournament.
You're absolutely right. So it's given teams like Real Madrid that's going through transition the opportunity for Jabi Alonso to actually look at the squad. And that goes the same for every team, or Bayern Munich and all those teams. For example, if Bayern Munich didn't come to this tournament, for example, that their only disadvantage is that they lost Musiala, but it also helps them. That could have been in a friendly just before the season with no time for them to sign a new player to replace him or to cover for him. But now they've got all the time to do that, So there are disadvantages to it, and there are advantages to it. And for me, I'm always thinking about Africa. And I think Africa has lost in terms of the AFCON in this. And Motsepe really needs to sit down with FIFA and do some work. Africa needs to situate itself within the football calendar. AFCON needs to situate itself. AFCON used to be held in March when we were growing up. It was always a 2-week period in March. That was when it was on the 18th, you know, and even when it increased, they kept it for March. Now we're just being, AFCON is being moved all over the place every single time. That cannot continue to happen. We need an identity. We need it to be on a particular date every year. Like we know, for example, the World Cup is held in June. You know, we need AFCON to have a period that is fixed and not changed. You know, if players cannot come, they cannot come. We have to make do with it, you know.
But what would you say about those that argue that although AFCON has been moving around, there's more money being made, and there's more money that actually goes to improve the leagues? So Motsepe, although he's moving AFCON around financially, he's actually giving also more money to teams.
Yes, you will make money, Eno, but you and I know that in terms of business, where there is certainty, there is always more money. Now, so if you agree on sponsorship deals, for example, and know that a competition will take place in January, and then you push it to June, what does that do for the sponsors? Do you understand what I'm saying? And you have people or companies who like trading at particular times of the year, okay, who could want to be sponsors of the tournament as well. But because of the times that you're choosing during the year, it's not favorable for them. I think we do have contracts that are put in place for these tournaments, you know, pre-tournament contracts, and then you move the tournament 4 months before. It's not good. And one of the most important sponsorship deals for every tournament usually comes from the media. And if you keep postponing these tournaments, then it's not helping the situation. It creates more uncertainty. You know, we need to find our place within this calendar and keep it there so that if sponsors are aware that that is the time, there will always be sponsors, my brother. There will always be sponsors. Africa is a massive continent. You know, we should depend on our own companies on the ground to be sponsoring our tournaments. It doesn't have to be multinational or intercontinental companies coming to sponsor our football. You know, we have to work around using African companies as well.
Well, with that said, Total is one of the biggest sponsors of the African football. Total Energy. They're one of the biggest.
And I think they are covering most of the tournaments: CAF Champions League, CAF Confederation Cup, and the African Nations Cup. They are all Total Energy competitions. So you're absolutely right there.
Okay, before we go to transfer, I want you to talk about, because I think we had a conversation about the African Women Championship that's going on as we speak in Morocco. Some of the teams, I think I did watch Morocco against Congo. That was a good game. That was a good watch. But you also told me about Zambia. You told me about Zambia and one of their star players. I mean, do you have anything to say about Zambia and why they are one of the interesting or energetic teams to actually watch in this tournament?
Well, to be honest with you, True Lion, I haven't really watched the tournament that much. Yes, but I do know that Zambia is a very good team. I think Zambia beat Morocco, that were the favorites to lift the trophy. Nigeria is still also a very good team. And I think Nigeria plays today, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Nigeria plays Algeria later today. So it's going to be a tricky one. Yes, Zambia are right in there as one of the favorites of the tournament. Yes, and I think Africa's best player is a Zambian. I've forgotten her name now. Very good footballer. You know, I'm planning to follow the tournament as from tonight, going forward, and hopefully we'll have more information around that from next Sunday. But as of now, I haven't really focused on following this tournament because of the FIFA Club World Cup competition.
Okay, good one. Let's dive into transfer news, right? You understand with why is Buemo's transfer? We've been talking about that for 6 weeks now, but we don't see any movement. Meanwhile, with Cunha, Manchester United knew what they wanted. They went to Wolves and things went on fast. But with Buemo, it seems as if Brentford and Manchester United cannot come to an agreement.
Yeah, I think Mbeumo is the issue with Mbeumo is he is a proven Premier League scorer, and to get 20 goals in the Premier League playing for Brentford is no mean feat. And he's coming to 25 years. He's 25 years old, Mbeumo, so he is just hitting peak. And Brentford are not letting down in terms of are not backing off in terms of their demands, and they are sticking with their 65 million pound asking price. So they're not shifting. But from the latest information that I know, and that I have seen on Sky Sports media, is that Manchester United will be coming back hopefully next week, and they are hoping that Manchester United will make the right offer from Mbeumo next week at 65 million pounds. I do not know. Hopefully that goes through, but if not, but we're looking at possibly the biggest contract of an African player this season, most likely, if nothing happens about Victor Osimhen.
Interesting. Talking about Victor Osimhen, I see that he now favors maybe a move to Galatasaray. Of course, last season he was on loan to Galatasaray. This season, he's received some offers, let's say from Saudi Arabia. He turned it down. He doesn't want to go there. He wants to stay in Europe. And we know Galatasaray are really, personal terms agreed, but it's not about that personal terms. It's about Napoli actually holding their ground and saying that their valuation has not been met.
Napoli is playing a dangerous game Monday, and I think Victor Osimhen is enjoying it. I think with all the issues that he's had at Napoli, I think Victor Osimhen is like, this is my moment. It's a dangerous game to play, but Napoli is playing a dangerous game as well. Napoli is trying to push the Saudi move because they know they're going to get all the money that they want. Victor Osimhen doesn't want that. Now, it might be that if there were no issues between the club and Victor Osimhen, he could have considered Saudi Arabia. But because there are issues there, fundamental relationship issues between Victor Osimhen and the club, Victor Osimhen looks to be holding his ground or standing his ground. Now, how this is going to pan out, I do not know. But Victor Osimhen definitely needs to be playing football again. He is 26. He is not getting younger. But his contract expires next June. So once the ball is kicked this season, the countdown starts. Napoli needs to make a decision, because that price would only keep going down, and the player might refuse to leave and end up not playing this season and training with the youth team and leaving for free next season.
Yeah, because I do remember last season there was a deal actually also for him. There was a possibility. Let me not say that there was a deal. There was a possibility for him to go to PSG, but Napoli did not have good relationship with PSG, and they did not want that move actually to go on. I don't know if it was also a Victor Osimhen thing, but that's what I gathered from last season. However, let's actually move forward and talk about Kudus. Kudus has actually gone to a team that you follow closely. I'm talking about Tottenham Hotspurs.
Mm-hmm.
How do you sanction this transfer? Because I think that Kudus is a very good player, but I think he needs to be disciplined. That's how I look at it.
I hold Kudus very high. I think, apart from Mo Salah, I think he's the next best thing from the continent. I think he is a top talent, and I think he knew coming to England that West Ham was just a stopgap, just a way to get him out of the Dutch league. This is a player that has been chased by Liverpool. Liverpool also wanted him at some point, or there were talks about him going to Liverpool. So, and I think Spurs might not be the end for him. I think he can still go one better. Yes, I'm excited about this. It brings a lot of competition into Spurs, and it's a big deal, £55 million. So he is a very good player. I'm happy for him. Yes, there are issues around discipline, but I think now that he's stepped up to a bigger club, no offense, I think he will need to work on his behavior. I hope he doesn't become very close friends with Bissouma, because I don't want any dancing in the dressing room. Carrying musical radios in and out of the dressing room all the time now. Needs to focus on football and be professional.
Well, let's talk about another player that moved from Wolves to Manchester City. We're talking about a left back, Nuri. How do you sanction that transfer?
One of the best left backs in world football. Very good player, technically very gifted, very athletic player as well, intelligent, but can have some defensive lapses, as we saw in the game against Al Hilal at the FIFA Club World Cup. And I think he raised his hands and accepted that his positioning wasn't very good in terms of their second goal. But hey, I think he's going to have a very good season, and he's going to get better and better under a very good manager. So all the good luck to him. Yeah, very good player. I'm happy for him.
Good. Are there other transfer news that you might want to talk about?
Well, there is Renido Mandava, the Mozambican centre-back from Atletico Madrid, who signed to Sunderland. I tell you what, Renido, if you know about Renido's contract, Renido wasn't earning up to £10,000 a week for Atletico Madrid. He was the lowest paid player in the team at 31. That was exploitation of the highest order. So I hope he gets a good payday at Sunderland and makes some more money for himself and his family. He's a solid defender, and that's a good signing for Sunderland. I hope he helps Sunderland stay in the Premier League. I like Sunderland. I like the place. Good city, nice city, very clean, nice place.
Wow, at 31, making under 10,000 a week.
Yeah. I think he wasn't even up to that. I saw it and I was got smacked when I saw his contract details.
As you say, that's exploitation to the fullest.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other transfer? I see there was this Cameroonian that left.
Yeah.
The Cameroonian that left, I think he left the second division and went to Frankfurt, from Spain to Frankfurt.
No, he went to Leverkusen. Albacete Ballonpi.
Oh, yes.
Christian Kofane. Yes, there were talks about Real Madrid looking at him one day. Kid looks good. So hopefully,
this is a striker, right?
Yeah, that's the beginning of him trying to chase Abubakar out. Hopefully. I hope he has a good season. I hope he has a good season in Germany, because he can explode, this kid. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I know that the game Chelsea versus PSG is not what we want to talk about, but as football, we've talked about the FIFA Club World Cup as pertains to African teams and how it actually benefits us. Could you just preview this game? What do you actually expect to see? That will be our last segment, our last talk of this segment. Just preview the game and what you actually expect.
I think PSG go in as favorites, of course. I'm really happy for the two African boys involved, Hakimi and Nicholas Jackson. I hope that Nicholas Jackson could be starting today. I do not know. I'm just going to have a quick look at the teams to see if he is in the starting 11. No, he is not. He is not starting today. And it's a good game for Hakimi to press home his claims to African Ballon d'Or over Mo Salah. I think it's going to be a clean sweep for him if he wins this tournament. So he would have won the French League, the Cup, the UEFA Champions League, and then the FIFA Club World Cup. Wow! And then looking to go one further and winning the AFCON with Morocco. PSG seems to be targeting the big teams, aren't they? They hammered Atletico Madrid 4. They beat Bayern Munich 2. Obviously, we know that they beat Inter 5 in the Champions League finals. I've looked at all their games, and then they gave they gave Real Madrid whatever they gave them in the semi-finals. So I don't want to talk about it. All the big teams that PSG have played, they have beat them to 0 with no team scoring. And I think me being African, always looking to the interest of African players, I think this game would be the game for people to judge Joao Pedro, because in the media after the last game, people were all over Nicholas Jackson because he didn't square a pass to Cole Palmer, saying, oh, it was because of Joao Pedro or this or that or that. Look, it's very easy when a center forward misses a shot like that for you to say, oh, square it. Most center forwards will try and score. And even when Joao Pedro scored the second goal, he had two Chelsea players that he could have just played in for them to go one-on-one and score. He took a shot, he came off the bar and went in. What if it didn't go in? What would have people said? Obviously, he scored the first goal, so it's not a problem. People forget that Nicholas Jackson outscored the same Joao Pedro in the Premier League last season. So, and they think that, oh, he is the new number 9. He is the one who will be the number 9 for Chelsea. I wish him good luck, but I'm telling you, I still think Nicholas Jackson will be the main man for Chelsea come next season. And I think Joao Pedro is not an out-and-out centre forward. I think the two centre forwards for Chelsea will be Nicholas Jackson and Delap, and Pedro will be one of the players. Joao Pedro will be one of the players playing on the wings and coming inside and doubling up maybe as a second centre forward. But in terms of this game specifically today, I don't think any of the teams would change how they play. I think PSG will maintain their playing style as well and would dominate the ball and would eventually beat Chelsea. But you never know in football. Chelsea can be a very funny team. They're very unpredictable. Before you know it, it could be a draw. But I think Paris are clearly favourites for this one.
Yeah, I think there are certain things that Chelsea actually needs to change or work on. When I watched them play live against Benfica, I think that was the 16th round of this tournament, most of the opportunities created were falling on the flying left back, Cucurella.
Yeah.
You see, today I'm not sure Cucurella will have such many opportunities to actually go up front. Now, if you cannot create opportunities for the lap, you start the lap. You cannot create opportunities for the lap. Or who's starting? Is it Pinto? Who's starting? Is it?
It's Joao Pedro.
Pedro. Okay, I know Pedro will not have that many opportunities that he had as the last game. So if you cannot create opportunities for Pedro to have shots on target, then there's gonna be a problem, except he's gonna try to create his own opportunities. And the way I see PSG actually plays, where they dominate that midfield and they try to push opposing teams to go wide, I think they're gonna deny Cole Palmer and Pedro chances to create. So when I look at to this game, for me, I think PSG is gonna win this one. For me, it's gonna be easy.
He's playing James in midfield.
But I don't. Yeah,
Reece James.
Yeah,
I don't think Reece James is very mobile in terms of being a midfielder. I don't understand that one in terms of playing against PSG, where you have two very mobile midfielders in Neves and Vitinha. So I do not know, but it will be interesting to see. Like I said, this Chelsea team is clicking. The thing with PSG is this, and with Man City is this, is that PSG has got a very good attack and Chelsea's got a very inexperienced centre-back line. So in Colwill and Chalobah, yes, they are good players, but they're not very experienced at this level. And you're facing players that are very experienced, World Cup experienced players, so it's going to be difficult for Chelsea, as it has been for all the teams that have faced PSG. And I think, like I said, and as you have confirmed as well, PSG are favourites.
Yeah, the teams that have actually given PSG, trouble, that's Aston Villa and Bayern Munich recently in this tournament, where Bayern Munich, can PSG replicate the performances of those teams? Do they have the coach to actually tactically match Luis Enrique? I don't think so. So for me, it's going to be PSG.
Well, we will see, isn't it? We will see.
Exactly. It's football. Any last words?
Well, just that, it's football. It's the proper summer break for football from today. So there will be very little to be discussing in terms of football, but we will always find information. There's going to be a lot of news about transfer. So we shall be back next week, hopefully with more interesting information from Africa.
Exactly. So thanks once more, Mr. Awa. For those who are not yet following Jabulani Football Network, please do follow us both on Facebook and our various social media platforms, which is also YouTube. Thanks once more again. And you guys have a wonderful end of the week or beginning of the week, because we are Sunday. Sunday is the beginning of the week. Enjoy.
Brilliant. Have a good day, brother.